Well, solving this question is actually very easy. Um, Non-controversial ones are, for example, if the price is 180, in that case, the production level will be 9. Um, and if you want to test whether at 180 this is the profit maximizing output level, well, basically in this case, when you test it, the profit at 8 and 9 will be same, and when you produce 7, the profit will fall, and you can test it. How can you test it? Basically, in order to find the total cost, you should multiply 9 with short run average total cost at the level 9. And you can do the same for the level 8, 7, and 10 if you want. And in order to find the total revenue, since the price is also 180, you should multiply 180 with 9, basically. So at production level 10, actually the costs are still on average below the revenues, but basically producing this additional 10 unit will bring 200 units of cost and 180 units of revenue, which means minus 20 loss. At 10, the revenue and cost is equal to each other, so 9 will not bring any revenue or cost, and the 8 will bring to 20 units of revenue, since the cost is 160. If the price is 120, for example, in that case the number of airplanes produced will be 6. If the price is equal to 100 or 80, for example, in that case, if the price is equal to 80, in that case 4 will be the profit maximizing output. It's not 2, even though at 2 the marginal cost is also 80. It is 4 because at profit maximizing point, marginal cost and marginal revenue should be equal to each other, but marginal cost also should have an increasing slope. So here it is increasing. At 4 it is increasing from 60 to 80 to 100. But at 2 it is decreasing from 100 to 80 to 60. So that's why it's 4. So at 100, when the price is 100, then profit maximizing output level is 5. Note that at profit maximizing level, actually the company might be making a loss. For example, at unit 5, since the price is 100, but average cost is 124, I mean, per unit, the company is making 24 units of loss. But in that case, the level is still a profit maximizing level, or it could be also called as loss minimizing level. So if you produce 4 units or 6 units, you will get even a higher loss. Why you might get a higher loss when you produce less? Because you have fixed costs. So basically, producing the 5th unit might help you to cover some of your fixed costs. In addition to the, it might be covering the variable cost, the cost of production, this additional unit, plus some of your fixed costs might also be covered. You might not be able to cover all your fixed costs even when producing 5 units, but at least producing 5 units might help you to reduce your fixed costs to some extent. And the fact that a point is cost minimizing doesn't mean that the company will certainly produce at that point. Well, in some cases, the company might just decide to produce 0 units. Not getting into production might be better than producing. And here we don't see what happens when we don't get to production, don't get into the production. So let's continue. So this is how we can draw the curves This is the for two different cases when the price is 120 and one price is 160. When price is 120, basically this is the demand MR/AR curve. This is the SRATC curve. This is the marginal cost curve. This is the AAVC curve. Note that in some cases the demand curve doesn't intersect with the short-run average total cost curve. It's possible, and here even at the 0.6 basically, marginal cost is 120. I mean, well, the margin revenue curve is at a vertical line at 120, but the cost never fall below 120, which means short-run average total cost curve and the margin revenue, average revenue and demand curve do not intersect. In this case, they intersect basically, and you can also see the profit maximizing points here. So let's continue. So profit loss analysis. How do we find profit or loss? Well, easy. What is profit? Revenues minus the costs. How can we find it? We can find average revenue per unit, minus average cost per unit. In parentheses, we should first make this calculation, times the quantity will give us profit or loss. When we take average revenue minus average cost, in that case, if we have lost, this quantity will be minus. On the graph, when we find the point where marginal cost and marginal revenue are equal to each other, which is the profit maximizing point, for the profit maximizing point, average revenue is basically the point on the blue line, the intersection point. And for the same quantity, in order to find the cost, we should go down and go down until we hit the average cost curve. So vertically down, you can draw a vertical line down to the average cost curve, or up. In some cases, you might also need to draw the curve up. We will see those cases. But basically, you draw a curve down or up from AR to AC curve, and that's your profit per unit. And basically, this line gives you the quantity that is produced. Quantity times profit per quantity will give you total profit. So this yellow rectangle represents the profits, or it might be also representing loss, but in this case it is representing the profits. How am I sure that in this case it is representing the profits? Now you can see here the analysis made. I know it from this. Well, first, if average revenue is higher than average cost at profit maximizing output, producer will make profit. So, if at the profit maximizing point, the average revenue curve is above the average cost curve, in that case, average revenue is higher than average cost. In that case, the company will make profit. But if average revenue curve gets above the average cost curve at any point, then at least at some production level, we know that our company will have average revenue higher than average cost. So if we did the marginal cost curve, we know at this point, also our average revenue is higher than average cost. So in all of these points, basically between the 2 points where average revenue and average total cost intersect, the company will make profits if it produces a quantity between this point and this point, basically. Here it says marginal revenue, but marginal revenue and average revenue are equal to each other. So that's how we know it. Our company breaks even if at profit maximizing point average revenue and margin revenue also curve is tangent to average total cost curve. In that case, I mean, the profit maximizing point is the point where average total cost is minimum, basically. Since, I mean, if the company just breaks even, it will break even at the point when average costs are minimum, since average revenue is always fixed. If it could not break even at a point where average total costs are higher, because in that case, I mean, you could basically produce more and basically decrease the cost, and average revenue will remain the same. Basically, since we have a totally horizontal demand. So the company will break even at the point when average costs are minimum. And at that point, basically, since average cost and average revenue are equal to each other, basically, their difference is 0. And if you multiply it with the quantity that is produced, again, you get 0. You get a 0. Your profits are 0. So if the average revenue curve and marginal revenue curve is below the average total cost curve, in that case, the company will make loss, which is obvious because your average revenue never gets above the average total cost. In that case, you can at the profit maximizing point, which is also loss minimizing point, you can calculate your loss by subtracting average cost from average revenue, which is this vertical line, and multiply it with the quantity produced. Well, when the company is making loss, the company might still be producing if it can cover at least the fixed cost, assuming that it already pays for the fixed cost, has paid for the fixed costs, basically. So the condition for continuity production is at least the company should be able to cover the variable costs, the costs that are inflicted by producing an additional unit, basically. So this is profit loss analysis, basically. You've already done that. I'll leave this question to you. Or let's do it. Well, when price is 120, the AR is always smaller than short-run average total cost curve, as you see when the price is 120. Here you can see it. When price is 130, at least for some production levels, as you see here, 5, 6, 7, AR is higher than ATC or SRATC. Well, the company will shut down in the short run if the variable cost cannot be covered. So if the price level is lower than the minimum AVC point, basically, as long as the price is above the AVC point, then it will go above the AVC point, which means at least at some production levels, it is able to cover all of the variable costs plus part of the fixed costs. If it is tangent to AVC, in that case, it will only able to cover the average variable cost at the production point, production level at which AVC is minimum. In that case, the company will be just indifferent between the shutting down or staying open. If the price is below the minimum AVC, in that case, the company won't be able to cover even its variable cost at any production level, and the company won't produce. So at price PL, the production level will be 0. It won't be Q1 actually, because the company will not choose to produce. The loss minimizing point for after the company starts producing is still Q1, but the level at which the company will choose producing is 0. At QD, you might say 0, you might say QD. I mean, the company is just indifferent. At PD, you might say company will produce QD or 0, both are okay.